Robots took my podcast, man.
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin.
Bobby Krieger, guitar player.
John Densmore, percussionist, 22 years old. Far out, man.
Pamela Morrison, ornament.
Raymond Daniel Manzarek, 1-2-12-39, musician.
Name, occupation? Jim.
You know the day destroys the night. Night divides the
Sides are
day.
being chosen. The planet is screaming for change, Morrison. We gotta make the myths.
They need to say the first shaman invented sex.
Other side, break on through to the other
They
side.
call him the one who makes you crazy.
I'm the Lizard King. I can do anything.
Jim Morrison, the god of rock.
The guys at Network have told us that they have a little problem with the lyric, girl, we couldn't get much higher. They asked if you could say instead, girl, we can't get much better. Can you dig that?
Girl, we couldn't get much higher.
I love it when you sing to me.
I'm the poet and you're my muse.
Do you hear them out there? It's you they want now. You ever tried drinking blood?
Mr. Morrison, you've gone too far.
You're a poet, not a rock star.
What you gotta do for Act 3?
Go on. Kill me. Come on, give me some death.
Let's just say I was testing the bounds of reality.
All right, Jordan, the podcast will begin in 5 moments. The mindless voice announced all those unseated will await the next show. Jordan, this podcast is going to open up the doors of perception, man.
That's right. Is everybody in? The podcast is about to begin.
Yes.
Come on, baby, light my fire. I'm sorry because I'm going to sing so much songs here that we probably can't even air this now because I'm going to be singing all these Doors songs. And,
We're going to get more copyright letters.
we're going to have to pay for them. We're going to have to license them. Yeah.
Jordan, we can't afford your crooning here on this podcast. We are struggling to pay the bills as it is.
I know. It's tough times. I am wearing my leather pants, though, for this episode. Nobody can see that out there, but you might hear the creaks every now and then.
And the audience probably thinks you're kidding, but you are not. I know you are probably actually wearing leather
I'm
pants.
actually not.
Oh, okay.
I thought I'd get into the feel for the episode.
Do you actually own a pair of leather pants?
I do, as of this year. Yeah, I bought some on my birthday with a gift certificate from my mom.
And did you tell her what you were buying?
I said, Mom, give me a gift certificate to
The leather store.
Murray's Leather. No, I just made that name up.
It's like the leather dashery.
And my mom did not know I was into leather, and that just weirded her out for some reason because she's very conservative, But
She's
it was
very-
funny to watch her
Very
reaction,
normal. Not judging people who go to leather stores, but asking your mom for a gift certificate to a leather shop is kind of a little weird, man.
She probably thought back to when I was 16 and already a Doors fan, and I asked for leather pants, and she was like, well, is this something the other kids are into right now in your 8th grade class? And I was like, no, not at all. No, just me.
Mother.
Sorry, Mother.
So I walked down the hall and I asked my mother for a gift certificate. Mommy, can I have a gift certificate to the leather store?
Oh, you're killing me.
Anyway, let's get started on this, whatever this is. All right. Why don't I 3, 2, 1 us, Jordan? You always hog all the fun.
Okay, yeah. 3, 2, 1 us, Anthony. Kick us off.
Let's see if I can do
Come
this.
on.
Let's see if I can remember the
Come
lines.
on. All right.
3, 2, 1. Welcome to our podcast. The robots took my podcast. I am Anthony. Or I am Jordan. I'm Jordan.
Oh, and I am Anthony.
Sorry. I'm Anthony.
And I am Jordan.
Just to confuse our new listeners.
My middle name is Jim, by the way.
Oh, is it? I did not know that.
Yeah. Well, James.
Okay. So, Jordan, today we are talking about the Oliver Stone film 1991's The Doors.
That's right. I gave you 3 movies to choose from out of my category titled Biopics Are Bullshit. And the first one was Michael from this year, 2026, and Bohemian Rhapsody. And now we're talking about The Doors from 1991, which is what you picked.
Yes, I did pick The Doors. I want to see Michael. I have seen Bohemian Rhapsody, and I hadn't seen The Doors in 20-something years. So I was like, why not? And we haven't really talked about an Oliver Stone film.
Yeah.
And I think this is a great jumping into that.
Yeah.
It's not like a lot of his other movies.
No.
But it is. So, Jordan, I have a question for you. Is this your favorite movie? Be honest.
I've watched this movie probably, I don't know how many times, honestly. Could be 50, could be 100.
Really?
Since I was like 15, yeah.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
So I guess you could say, I guess it's fair to say that I like this movie, even though I have criticism about it at the same time.
Okay.
I do love me some biopics, though, honestly, even if some of them look like TV movie of the weeks from the old days of television.
So, Jordan, let me ask you that. On that topic, what do you think makes a good musical biopic?
For one, you got to have the great concert sequences, because even if the movie doesn't end up being good or completely historically accurate, at least you have the concert sequences going for it.
Yeah.
I.e. Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
I.e. this movie, too.
That is definitely a film that has a lot of concert footage. And I think it's important not only to have the concert footage, but to recreate the experience of seeing the band in real life.
Yeah, because it should be a time travel trip for the audience. Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
It's funny that biopics are finally taking off more and making money.
Yeah.
All biopics also need that story arc.
Yeah.
The rise to fame. It's like the hero's journey all over again that we always talk about, and Hollywood loves to reference now because of George Lucas. The rise, the fall. Maybe their rise at the end of the movie, I don't know, like a phoenix,
Yeah. And usually these biopics are about a person, a singular person.
Yeah.
And I think they need to capture the essence of, or try to capture the essence of who that person really was and why we even care, why we want to watch a biopic about this person.
Yeah. This movie is called The Doors. It's not about all the Doors. It's really about Jim Morrison. Almost.
Yeah. There's even a 5th Doors member who's not in the movie.
That's right. His name was Pete Sutcliffe. He was brother of Stuart Sutcliffe, who was in the Beatles, or almost in the Beatles. No, I just made all that up. I'm sorry. Look, this is biopics, people. We're just adding stuff in. I mean, hey, it's just normal. This is normal.
Exactly. Like that time Elvis met Jim Morrison. That's in the movie. That didn't happen in real life.
That? They met at the Andy Warhol factory. It was like right there. He's like, hey, Jim Morrison, how you doing? I can't believe you're here. Look at all these freaks, Jim. Can't believe all these freaks around me.
You want to go in the back room and do some pills, Jim?
You want some of these pills? Yeah. You want a Molly? No, I'm sorry. That was before Molly, wasn't it?
That never happened, but I wanted to see that. Like, what if Jim Morrison had spent one night together with Elvis partying? What would that be like? Or maybe the Doors played Memphis and he met Elvis at a fried chicken joint at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
That's a play we've just described right there. That's great.
He was drunk. Elvis was high on pills. Morrison was drunk and psyched out of his mind and on maybe cocaine and psychedelics. And Elvis was, on pills, man. Up all night, man. And damn it, it was a good time to get some Williams fried chicken.
Say, man, can you hand me some of them napkins there?
Yeah.
Buddy.
Hey, hand me that extra greasy piece there.
Oh, Lizard King, Well, yeah, they call me the king, but not the Lizard King. That's far out there, Jack. Anyway, enough of that. Oliver Stone. Who the hell is Oliver Stone, and why is everyone talking about him?
Well, Oliver Stone was famous early on in his career for writing a movie called Midnight Express about a real guy named Billy Hayes who got busted for hashish coming out of Turkey. And later on, he wrote a script that was also successful, Scarface from 1983. That movie is still quoted to this day, actually, to give it credit. It is beloved by the hip-hop world, myself included.
Are you in the hip-hop world? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I spent some time in the hip-hop world, yo, Anthony.
We all believe it, Jordan. Platoon, Wall Street.
Platoon, Wall Street, yeah.
Yeah. A bunch of movies filmed in Dallas, our hometown, my hometown, not yours.
Yeah, and
talk radio, born on the 4th of July, JFK hired a lot of Dallas actors.
My dad was an extra on Born on the 4th of July when they shot it in Dallas. When they shot it at the Pink Elephant over off of University in Greenville. It used to be there, a bar. They dressed it up, period. They dressed the extras up. And yeah, that was a big movie that happened before The Doors.
Yes.
It became successful and won Oliver Stone some Oscars. And I bring this up too because I've heard Oliver Stone's stories because my dad and friends of mine have all worked on Oliver Stone movies. So those will probably come into play later on.
Boy.
Yeah.
We are waiting with bated breath. Okay, so this film, Jordan, I had the soundtrack for. I didn't see it in the theater. I was a little young for that. But yeah. I did have the soundtrack. I remember that being very popular. And I don't know if this movie really introduced me to the Doors. I think I kind of knew about them as a band on the oldies station, right? Mm-hmm. Back when radio was a thing, kids.
I think the very first time I heard the Doors was on one of those record commercials that we would hear back when we were kids. You know, there's the top 10 hits from the 60s on one vinyl, one cassette. And I remember hearing Hello, I Love You. And they had that iconic shot of Jim Morrison with his shirt off and arms spread.
Yeah. Is that Freedom Rock, man?
Yeah, right.
Well, turn it up, man. Anyway.
Don't you love her madly? Oh, sorry.
So, Jordan, we keep talking about this Jim Morrison fella. Just for the uninitiated, who is Jim Morrison? Who are the Doors? What is their place in music history?
Jim Morrison was born in Florida. The town escapes me at the moment.
We don't. You're not doing a book report on him.
I'm sorry.
Generally speaking, who is Jim Morrison in a sentence or two?
Well, eventually he went to UCLA Film School, where the same film school at the same time Francis Coppola went to, and eventually got bored with film school and met up with these band members, Ray Manzarek, John Densmore, Robbie Krieger, to form the Doors eventually at one point. And it took them about 2 years to become successful, playing in clubs all over LA. Mm-hmm. And the Sunset Strip, and the Whiskey A Go-Go is where they really kind of got noticed. Yeah, and they got signed on by Elektra Records.
Yeah, but the Doors probably one of the big bands of the 60s. I'm going to be wrong in saying this, but in my mind, they're like a psychedelic band that kind of went commercial. Do you know, like a psychedelic sort of jam band?
Yeah.
So anyways, about the Doors, the movie, we were going to get right into this, Jordan. And I noticed immediately from the beginning that we see TriStar and Carolco, which were big 80s names. That was like your Rambo movies and your Terminator 2 and all this. So this is some big money behind this, getting this thing going.
Andrew Vajna from
Bless
Carolco.
You.
That was his name.
Sorry.
Andrew Vajna had a deal with Val Kilmer, and later that deal was also on Tombstone, another movie you talked about.
Yeah.
And apparently another financer was Bill Graham Films, who owned the Fillmore back in the 60s. And you see him in cameos in this movie show up. A couple of cameos.
Yeah. So Jim Morrison, a very charismatic singer, a very controversial singer at his time, and kind of like, I wouldn't call him punk rock ethos, but sort of just a poet who kind of thumbed his nose at authority. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think he is early punk rock, though. Absolutely. He crowd surfed before anybody did, before even Bowie did.
Oh, yeah. But fancied himself an intellectual and fancied himself a poet and an artist.
And he was very well read, so why not? Yeah.
And I think didn't set out to be a rock star.
No, not necessarily. I think he wanted to be a filmmaker originally
Mm-hmm.
to show poetry in film.
Yeah. So I guess the pivotal moment in Morrison's life is that, and it's one of the first scenes in the movie. Whenever he is, it's 1949, New Mexico.
It's outside of Albuquerque.
Okay. Young Jim Morrison and his family are driving past a wreck in which I guess like a farmer had hit a car full of Native Americans. There's some dead bodies there, and some mournful Native Americans are standing around. And Jim sees an elderly Native American man and some other folks who we'll see again in the film. And it's almost, I think from his, and correct me if I'm wrong, but at that moment he feels like the souls of the dead Native American folks have
leapt into his body.
Into his body. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. He talked about this in an interview too. I think that's why they put it in the movie like this visually, because it was something that haunted him apparently. And nobody knows whether this is true or not. I don't know if this is ever validified by even his father.
Yeah. Whether he made it up or not. I mean, it was part of his whole ethos in life. This informed who he was and his identity on some level. I don't know how much the movie makes a lot of it, but yeah, we'll get to that later. So young Jim going to UCLA film school. He's in California now from Florida or wherever, Florida State, he's on Venice Beach. He quits film school because people don't get his art. And he kind of meets young Ray Manzarek, who's the keyboardist for the band, played by Kyle
MacLachlan.
Kyle MacLachlan from, oh my goodness,
Twin Peaks, the 1984 version of Dune.
Dune, yeah.
David Lynch directed. Blue Velvet, another David Lynch movie. Yeah, I mean, he did a lot of stuff with David Lynch before this.
Great actor.
That's where he was coming off of. Great actor, Kyle
I think he's great.
Perfectly cast. Yeah.
He doesn't really, he kind of looks like him a little bit, but he catches the vibes somehow.
The real Ray Manzarek hated this movie, but I still feel like Kyle MacLachlan was well cast, nevertheless. Despite the way they portray Ray Manzarek in the movie, too.
Yeah, I think he's a little more grounded than Ray was. I think Ray, all the interviews I've seen of him, he's just kind of a little out there.
Oh, yeah.
And he has definitely crafted a retrospective view of what the Doors were about. After Jim Morrison's passing, I think he was the one who sort of defined.
They called him the father of the band, kind of.
Yeah, defined what their legacy would be. But anyway, as you said, he was not involved in the making of this film. The other band members were.
Yes.
So much so that they were on set. They were training, so to speak.
Robbie Krieger and John Densmore both appear in this movie, too. In fact, John Densmore appears as the recording guy in the beginning of the recording studio when he's recording American Prayer before we flash back. And then Robbie Krieger shows up in the background later on at the Whiskey A Go-Go.
Yeah. And John Densmore was like working with Kevin Dillon, who plays him in the movie, on drums. I saw in one, I was like, wow. I mean, so they were deep in this, except for Ray Manzarek.
Krieger did work with Frank Whaley, who played him.
Yeah.
Because Frank Whaley said later on, and like by the time we get to the Miami sequence, he said he was like Eddie Van Halen.
Wow. And so Ray Manzarek didn't want any part of this because I heard he wanted to make a Doors movie himself at some point, and he wanted to direct, I think.
Yeah, and I think that went on for a bit after, actually, where he tried to make a Doors movie even, I think.
It's like the real Doors, kind of like how like when we were kids they had the Ghostbusters cartoon and then the real Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Well, because I remember they asked Gavin Rossdale from Bush in the early 2000s to come play Jim Morrison in a movie. And that made me go, what? What are they talking about? Huh. And Gavin Rossdale turned them down. He said, thank you, but no.
So, yeah. All-star cast here. What do you think about the casting of the band?
It's great. They're all good, although I think Kevin Dillon doesn't sound like John Densmore when he's talking as much. And you know, he sounds a little bit too tough guy.
Doesn't look like him. I was thinking the same thing. I love Kevin Dillon. Okay,
he looks like him, but he doesn't sound enough like him to me. He should sound softer.
Because Kevin Dillon, like his brother Matt Dillon's from New York, so everything's kind of like, if you need somebody who's a little confused about what's going on and slightly upset, then you get Kevin Dillon.
Yeah.
This guy's not the brightest bulb in the tree, but he's there to kind of, hey man, what's going on here? That's when you get Kevin Dillon. Or in your Blob movie.
Yeah, and I know it was Oliver Stone probably casting him after Platoon because he thought he looked enough like him, I guess. And he looks like him, but yeah, sounding like him, he just doesn't sound like him enough.
But do you know who does not necessarily look like, but embodies the person they're portraying is Val Kilmer.
the most in the movie.
Yes. Val Kilmer famously was like a method actor.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you know anything about his preparation for this role, or?
Yeah, I've learned a lot from books and from the documentary Val, where his son narrated, and he wore leather pants for like 2 years. He got hooked up with a band
Gross.
so that he could practice. And the leather pants he bought were used in the beginning as well. He
Gross.
bought them from somebody in San Diego, used apparently.
Somebody in San Diego.
That's what I read, yeah.
I'm not buying pants from somebody in San Diego, Jordan, especially
this is before Craigslist, mind you.
Sweaty leather pants.
So he must have found the ad in the newspaper somewhere, selling leather pants here in San Diego.
Sweaty leather pants. Lord.
But he practiced singing like Jim Morrison because he didn't want to just lip sync. He thought he should be able to sing, and I think he fought for that too. And he actually played at some of the same clubs, videotaped himself. Y'all can go see these videotapes even on YouTube. I think they're still around. They're classic, but yeah, he prepared for like 2 years from what I know, right after he was finishing Kill Me Again, I think.
And I think that like everyone really says that he embodied Jim Morrison, or at least parts of Jim Morrison.
Yeah, and I still feel like that, absolutely. Even though I don't think he sounds exactly like him when he's singing sometimes. He's got a little bit more of the value. Obviously, he's got to put his own voice in there, too, a little bit. So.
Yeah.
But that's a minor critique. He still sings well as Jim.
I mean, what the movie did, to my understanding, is like if it was a far shot, they were actually using Jim Morrison's voice. And if it was closer and he's singing, his lips are moving, they tended to use his rendition.
Oh, about that. Yeah, they did. They made all the members of the band, too, learn how to play so that they could play accurately to playback. And they all played to playback music. And they had apparently Val's voice intermingled with Jim's original song for the live extras. So the extras actually had something to react to in these scenes, honestly. They're all reacting for real, I believe.
Wow.
And it's like a live show, basically. And apparently this is 1991 technology, and it took a lot of wiring. Apparently there were trucks outside the clubs or the amphitheater or whatever they were playing in that had to have all this complex wiring to wire Val and Jim's voice together for live recording, live playback.
Wow.
In the scene. And the concert scenes, like in the clubs, and the theaters become very epic, almost bigger than the real thing, I think, like on a 10 Commandments level.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's a movie. It's a movie. It's, so they have to really do it up and make it big and engaging.
Oh, I got to talk about something here too. Sorry.
Do you really have to talk about? Go ahead, Jordan.
I got to bring up.
Don't let me finish what I was saying. You go ahead.
Oh, I got to bring up the fact of how much. By the time we get to the Doors playing in clubs in L.A. in the movie, we get to the Whiskey a Go-Go. Particularly, I got to bring that up because apparently they spent over $500,000. This is $1990 to close down that part of Sunset Strip and decorate it and make it look like 1967 or 66, and have the period cars thrown in there with all their owners. And this is a mess. I'm just talking about how big this movie actually is. Really, this is a big budget kind of effort. This movie, and like one of the people on production said, this is no longer the 60s. This is the greedy 80s. You know how much it cost us to shut down Sunset Strip alone before we were even decorating, or putting up facades, and people on set said that it was like time travel when they were there. The extras. Anyway, sorry.
Who did it better, Oliver Stone or Quentin Tarantino in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
God, that's tough, man, because they're both done by Barbara Ling.
But anyways, the movie kind of jumps right into like, oh, hey, let's start a band. And then 2 minutes, as movies do.
We see a little montage of 2 years lapse, where they're playing in clubs and then catching up to the London Fog and then the Whiskey a Go-Go, I guess you could say. And Jim's shyness on stage. And there was some deleted scenes here, too, where we saw Jim being crazy in film school before all that. And
Okay. So take a pause, Jordan. Take a breath. Okay. Good. So,
hang on. Let me snort another line of this movie.
I know.
Okay.
But it's apparent that they start off kind of rocky, but we don't get any sense of that. This is like within 30 seconds, they are the Doors. Well-formed, mature as a band, cohesive, and killing it on the Sunset Strip at Whiskey a Go-Go.
Yeah.
And we don't really get a sense of who the other band members are or their journey or how they even met it's just like Jim and Ray on the beach, and then boom, they're in someone's living room, and then practicing. And then boom, they're at the Whiskey A Go Go.
Actually, Anthony, it was the London Fog and then the Whiskey A Go Go that they're showing here.
Okay.
They don't show any struggle, though, right?
Yeah, exactly. They didn't kind of earn where they are. It's just like, we all know who the Doors are, and this is blah, blah, blah. This is not important. That, to me, is kind of the most important thing in any movie if you're building an arc.
Yeah. We only get a sense of it when we come in and they're practicing Break On Through, and it's in its early phase before the bossa nova beat is added. And then Jim says they need more songs, even though he told Ray he's got a whole concert in his head in the previous beat sequence. And Robbie says, hey, I got this song, Light My Fire. And then they start practicing Light My Fire, and they completely gel quickly with it.
I mean, it reminds me of the Beatles Get Back documentary where you have that Peter Jackson documentary where you actually see them write Get Back or whatever it was song. And that's not even this. I mean, this is just like, we just boop, 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 boop. And I've heard songs being written that way, but
you're right, though. There's no struggle here, right? There's no like finding the sound kind of scenes. We see a little bit. We get a little bit of that finding the sound.
Yeah. I mean, they're all really good musicians, but they just kind of jump right into this and like, hey, we're the Doors, everybody. And now we're a famous, That Amazon TV miniseries, Daisy Jones and the Six, I will give that. That was a miniseries, so they had time, but they actually show the struggle of the band early on, and you're like, oh man, I can't wait for them to get famous already because this looks rough, anyway. I know it's funny.
And a lot of times, if you hear outtakes from recordings from, especially in that time period, a lot of times you hear back and forth arguing from the band members after they stop and they can't find the sound, because when a band's doing a song, I was in a garage band at one point when I was a kid, and when a band's starting up a song, they start up, fun fact. I filled in as a lead singer because I sounded like Jim Morrison, and that was why.
Was it a Doors cover band?
I wish. No, I wanted to go to that direction, of course, but no. They wanted just a hard rock sound. But I remember the one thing that annoyed me was they would start up and sound great, and then one of them would go, I can't hear myself. Somebody turn themselves up louder than me. It'd be something stupid, and then they'd stop.
And that's when you went full Jim Morrison and were throwing whiskey bottles around at people.
I picked up the television and threw it at them. Yeah, the TV and threw it at them. And I said, you saw this to a commercial?
TV. Anyway. Yeah. So anyway, immediately they go to the desert and start tripping. And the film establishes that Jim likes to do drugs.
Yes.
And he jumps up on a car at this one point.
Yeah, how do you know you're alive? You're really, really alive. And it's like a peyote sequence all of a sudden.
He talks about making out with a snake. It's real weird. And so we get a lot
this side of a Young Guns peyote sequence.
We got a call back to last episode. Yeah, and in this movie, just as a drinking game, for those that drink, anytime the band just like rolls their eyes, here goes Jim, but don't do anything about it or call him out on his behavior.
And by the way, this is complete and total fiction, this sequence. The Doors would never trip with Jim Morrison, the rest of the guys, meaning Ray, John, and Robbie. They would all tell you that right now.
I mean, it was the 60s and they were rock stars, but it seemed
not
like
that they didn't do all that, but they would not do that with Jim. They knew Jim was crazy if they were going to trip with him. He was going to do something crazy that would scare them, probably.
Sorry, it would never happen, Anthony. Facts, Doors facts guy once again.
Yeah.
It's a great sequence, so I love it. I smoke a joint to it every time, man, because it's got some great effects by ILM, early computer effects that make it look really hallucinatory and really, it reminds me of a real acid trip that I took when I was younger,
And the movie does feel like a trip. I will say that.
It does.
And, okay, say what you want about Oliver Stone, okay?
Mm-hmm. He's a creep, yes.
Yeah, I mean, there's lots to say about Oliver Stone. He's a drug addict. He's an asshole.
You can edit that if you want. I'm not afraid to say it.
But no, we were talking about Sam Peckinpah in the last episode. And I would say, like, Oliver Stone has his shit together as a director way more than Sam Peckinpah did, but not far off in a way as far as the drugs, the alcohol, and negative energy and all that.
Well, yeah.
Am I wrong? I don't know.
He was doing peyote every weekend on this movie, apparently, for a good chunk of the production schedule. Just saying. And
he was a fan of Jim Morrison's as well.
Yeah. I met a guy in Dallas who worked on the Doors in the art department, and he told me Oliver Stone was like coherent sometimes when he would show up to set, where he would be just literally throwing out directions and going, As if thou you come to this bar, and you'd be like this, right? And you'd be like, all right, and then okay, action.
Yeah.
He had reliable people by him too, I guess, to keep it going.
Mm-hmm. And I think I've seen interviews where he definitely admits to the excesses. It's like, hey, it was the 80s, you know? That's everyone's excuse. Hey, it was the 80s. But this was 1991. Hey, it was the 80s. Anyway. So in this tripping sequence, Jim has a vision.
We see the same Native American who was dead early on in the movie. We see him again, and he's in the cave. And then we see this bald guy who we've been seeing all through the movie.
Mm-hmm.
We just keep seeing him randomly, and I think he's supposed to be like Death, the way Death is represented in like Ingmar Bergman's The Seventh Seal, just constantly showing up out of nowhere, you know. And he's played by Oliver Stone's drug guy and groupie guy, Richard Rutowski, the guy who actually got him drugs and groupies on his movies. Yes. And he would sometimes get an associate producer credit, so he'd be paid at the same time. Natural Born Killers, another Oliver Stone movie.
But anyway, so he has this vision. This is the transformation. He becomes Jim Morrison, as we know, singing the end.
He sees the future kind of, and suddenly we're in the whiskey and he's singing the end live and it's about to get ugly. And
sings the famous lines, shocks everybody. So he's shocking this mother, I want to, you know how it goes.
Father, I want to kill you. Mother, I want to F you. And it was based on Oedipus, actually, the Greek tragedy of Oedipus. But nobody, of course, is going to know this in the audience in 1967 in a rock club of the Whiskey A Go-Go. So, of course, everybody's shocked as what he's saying. Like, what the heck are you? And it's the late 60s. Everything is starting to be shocking to people. And then he gets thrown out of the club. And, yet at the same time, he runs into the guys from Elektra Records.
Elektra Records just happened to be
Jack
there.
Holzman.
What is this, a Dickens novel? Like, it's like, hey, kid.
Yeah. It's like Great Expectations. It's like, and Mrs. Havisham was right outside the club.
Stuff like this happens in movies. I get it. You need shortcuts, right? But I mean, it's
condensation, Anthony. Yes,
it's kind of convenient here, and they're getting to be more popular and et cetera. And they're on the Ed Sullivan Show, and it's a famous incident. They've grown real big. A producer comes up to them and says, "You know that song, Light My Fire, Jordan? What does he ask them?"
He says, can you change the lyrics, because you can't say higher on network television. We thought it'd be better if you could say, girl, we couldn't get much better. Can you dig? And like he walks off, and this is a little more dramatic than it actually happened, but it did happen like this kind of.
Yeah.
They weren't supposed to say higher on live TV on Ed Sullivan, but they kind of dramatize it here more, and you get a little nice thing from Val Kilmer going, girl, we couldn't get much higher, yeah. And this is after deliberation between the band. They say, hey, it's just a word, Jim. This is the funny thing too. In reality, they just basically looked at each other and went, yeah, sure, we'll change it during rehearsal, but live, no. But the truth that they say in there is the Stones did have to change when they played on it. Yeah. They had to change when they sang, let's spend the night together. They just went to, let's spend some time together.
Because it's Sullivan, man.
And he's very conservative, yeah. Very conservative, Ed Sullivan, yes. And
Elvis was on there. Big TV show. If you made it, on Sullivan, you were big. And that was definitely going to sell records. But the movie makes it seem like the band members are like, oh, no, this is fine. And then Jim's the wild card.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That I don't agree with that either. The way they did that in the movie, because it was way more subtle the way they did it in reality.
Yeah,
it was subtle. It did make it to where they weren't allowed back after that too.
Yeah, and I think the band really fancied themselves to be artists, and they didn't want to like compromise their art. I can't get in their head, but what we see sometimes is this "fuck the man." I'm sure there was some of that going on, but they just thought that they were all geniuses.
Yeah.
We can't change our words, man. Like
that's the way it's portrayed in the movie. But like, I do remember reading "No One Here Gets Out Alive" by Danny Sugarman and Jerry Hopkins, and in that book they said Ed did say to them backstage something you kind of see a little in the movie that's kind of hinted at. He did say, he said, and please try to have a big smile on your face when you're out there. Don't look so sullen. And Morrison said, well, we're kind of a sullen group, Ed. But they didn't smile either.
One thing we haven't mentioned that is sort of important is that Jim Morrison has a girlfriend in this movie. The movie kind of begins with that. And it's Pamela Corson.
Yeah.
played by Meg Ryan.
Yeah.
And apparently the story behind this is Jim had all this poetry, which Stone wanted to use for the movie. And Stone was really good about going to all the parties, the band members, and saying, hey, we're making this film. What do you think? You want to be a part of this?
Yeah. There was a lot of legal stuff on this movie
Oh,
as
yeah.
far as all that went. A lot of that's why it got delayed for so long, too.
I was wondering about the rights even to today. I guess because Elektra signed off on it, somebody smart back in 1991 got the music rights. I'd love to see that contract. Because even today, the fact that we can even see the streaming is amazing. So many movies we can't see because of the soundtrack rights.
Yeah.
And they're not going to recut the soundtrack and take music out that's playing in the background like you just can't. I mean, with AI you could, but...
Yeah, I know the legalities on that even. You have to license it every time you show it.
Yeah.
Stream it or whatever. Anytime it goes out into the world again freshly, you have to license it all over again. That's the way it works. I hate to break it to you, folks.
Yeah.
But that's the expensive world of music licensing.
Yeah. So Meg Ryan plays his girlfriend, Pamela Corson. He basically stalks her in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, that was creepy now that I look back on that.
Yeah, climbs into her window and just keeps coming in. And in your 20s, maybe that's cute in high school.
Also, they play like... She lives on Love Street, lingers. They play that over the thing. Instead of like, why wouldn't it be more interesting if they just played Hello, I Love You? Like, hello, I love you. Won't you tell me your name? Because it's literally the same. At least it would have fit better.
Yeah. Well, Jordan, you can talk to Oliver Stone about that the next time you see him.
She's walking down the street.
But anyway, Meg Ryan. How do we know Meg Ryan, Jordan?
Well, at this point, she'd already been in Top Gun, Inner Space,
just the queen of the 80s and 90s rom-coms.
Married to Dennis Quaid at this time, I think, had 2 kids with him, you know.
Yeah.
Also, they met on Inner Space, but yeah, and she...
The cute, quirky, rom-com-y girl.
She's always the cute blonde, yeah, generally. Cute, quirky blonde.
And then, of course, they have a tumultuous relationship, but her family, she died a few years after Jim.
Sadly, yeah.
Her family got the rights to his poems and obviously her likeness and depiction and things like that. So they wanted some say in that, and they prevented Stone from really digging into her character in depth.
Yeah.
So she's just played rather one-dimensionally in this movie, if you ask me.
They didn't want to show Pam doing heroin in the movie.
What do you think? And I understand Meg Ryan actually went to the family, the Cursons, and talked to them.
Oh, did she?
Sweet little Meg Ryan probably
I did not know that.
Smooth that over. I mean, they involved everybody, Jordan, which is the interesting thing, that they got away with so much of what they showed in this film, especially with the Morrison estate. But anyway, I mean, Meg Ryan and Jim Morrison, because Meg Ryan is, to me, always Meg Ryan in a movie.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, this isn't Pamela Corson. This is Meg Ryan and Jim Morrison, which is a weird casting.
Fun fact, a close contender was Patricia Arquette.
Yes.
Who I think would have been really good.
I
think Stone made her uncomfortable probably to where she didn't want to work on the movie, understandably.
Yeah.
I can bet money that's what happened. Because another contender was apparently Melissa Gilbert.
Really?
And she was really uncomfortable working with Oliver Stone because he was asking her to do uncomfortable things in the audition, apparently. This is public, yeah.
Interesting. Well, I could definitely see Patricia Arquette. Wow.
She seems perfect, actually, to me. I'm not that Meg Ryan didn't do all right. Meg Ryan did well under the circumstances. And I understand Meg Ryan didn't want to do nudity also, and that's understandable, too.
Well,
you know?
We see her boobs, though, don't we?
He somehow talked her into it after a fight, I think, though, and after because Oliver Stone was like, I killed the trip. And it's like, well, yeah, she didn't want to do nudity. Just get her a damn double,
I don't think she's right for the role. She kind of takes me out of the movie.
She's too Americana, girly.
She's too cute. And I love Meg Ryan and in her Meg Ryan vehicle. You know what I mean? Like,
and she generally plays somebody under the influences, just drunk in a kind of way. She doesn't play them stoned in a hippie heroin way.
She plays cute.
Yeah. Just like she's, Jim
Morrison, you come back in here.
You have ruined another Thanksgiving, Jim Morrison. It's like, but yeah, it's not the way I picture Pamela Curson. I don't know.
But I was thinking, like, it's interesting. Meg Ryan and Jim Morrison, just like this coupling, like Sleepless in Paris. You've got heroin. When Jim met whiskey. I don't know, like Jim versus the volcano. I don't know, whatever. I don't know. Such a weird pairing.
This was a year after Joe versus the volcano. So yeah, I did find it weird her playing this kind of character too, actually.
Yeah, she's so.
And by the way,
yeah.
I did not see this in the theater either. I had to actually sneak away and rent this on video when I was 15. Like when my mom was out of town with her boyfriend, kind of thing. You know, get on my bicycle, go to the video store. They didn't ID you, so you know.
Was this the same video store that you tried to rent Wizards from, and they told you couldn't because it was rated R?
Yes, actually, yes. No, it was the same Wizards though that had the sign "Wizards is not for kids."
Listen to that episode. Anyway,
yeah.
Let's talk about Andy Warhol's factory, Jordan.
Oh, this scene.
For
OMG.
folks who don't know, Andy Warhol, obviously big artist in the 60s, had a whole commune of freaks and weirdos and awesomeness and bands and artists, and just a funky scene in New York. And I mean, of course, the Doors go and visit this thing while they're in New York. Mm-hmm. And oh my God, number one, this is a little crazy. I loved this so much. I would almost watch a whole movie of this. Jim Morrison at the Warhol factory. Okay.
Yeah. It's a whole atmosphere. I agree. And the camera work by Robert Richardson, I have to give. We also talked about on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This is where I first became aware of Robert Richardson too, was this movie. And I mean, I've been in love since with his work, man, because he knows how to shoot, man. This guy gives a look to everything, man. He later went to work with Scorsese, notably.
Yeah.
But man, the camera's moving in the factory here. It's just moving in this weird hallucinatory way. Like you feel stoned when you're there.
And it's subtle. Do you know how, like, in some movies, there's like fisheye lenses and it's not that overt, but you do get this disquieting kind of odd feeling. I love it. Like you're floating through this environment.
I think this is so interesting. And then the guy escorting Morrison around is a guy we talked about in another podcast. I don't know if you know, it's Paul Williams.
Paul Williams, the great one, Phantom of Paradise. Yes.
This is Paul Williams in 1991 playing some guy at the factory that's, he's escorting Jim around.
I was just like, oh my God, like it was like cameo after cameo. Oh, what? You want another cameo? We got a cameo. It was like
this movie's full of it.
Oh my, yes. Okay. So I guess maybe this is a good time, Jordan. Our quiz for the episode. Mm-hmm. Okay. A number of people from real life appear in this film. Can you name 3 of them?
One of them, of course, Bill Graham, who I mentioned earlier, the guy who owned the Fillmore Club, and is, I think, a producer on this movie. Paul Rothschild is in the Whiskey A Go-Go scene. Well, I mentioned John Densmore earlier in the opening sequence, playing the guy at the console when Jim Morrison's recording American Prayer. Robbie Krieger in the background at the Whiskey when they're backstage once again. That same
ding,
scene.
ding. Oh, he's on a roll, kids. Oh, wow. Later on in the film, we also have the real Patricia Keneally.
Oh, Patricia Keneally.
Keneally.
Yeah. The one, she's actually the one who marries them
herself.
She marries Kathleen Quinlan and Val Kilmer.
Anyway, well done, Jordan. Well done. That was great.
Thank you.
Are a fan of this film. And that's crazy that, like, so many people...
I used to even watch the credits, yes.
Nerd! But back to the Andy Warhol scene. We meet Michael Madsen from all the Tarantino movies.
And he had just worked with Val Kilmer on this great noir movie directed by John Dahl, and also starring Val Kilmer's wife at the time, Joanne Willey, called Kill Me Again, that came out in 1989. And I almost wonder if Kilmer was like, hey, can you hire my boy Michael Madsen to play my buddy?
Yeah.
I don't know that for a fact. And he's playing Tom Baker, an actor for Andy Warhol, who was in some Andy Warhol's flicks. I guess notably Naked, because he comments on that. Kilmer, as in Morrison, he says, hey, I like your movies, man. You got a great penis, man.
Yeah. And so then we meet Andy Warhol. And Jordan, who plays Andy Warhol in this film?
OMG, talk about perfect casting. Crispin friggin' Glover. Crispin Glover from Back to the Future.
A scene for the Crispers, as we mentioned, the Crispin Glover fans.
Yeah. And he's just, man, and he looks, I don't know. He kind of, I feel like he looks the part. He's got it down, kind of. He's got the sunglasses on. And when Jim walks in, he's saying, the paintings were all falling down. They were getting crushed because of all the people. And then, oh, hi, Jim. Really love to use you in my movies.
And he's like, yeah, here's a gold phone someone gave me. Here, you could talk to God with it. And I was like,
yeah, I think it was Edie Sedgwick gave it to him and said, here, you can talk to God. And he gives it to Jim in this scene. Apparently this really actually happened, though.
Oh, I believe it. I believe all of this. And
he actually gave Jim a gold phone as a gift. Jim didn't give it to a bum later on. He actually threw it in the dumpster, apparently.
This whole scene is great. And Oliver Stone, being no stranger to drugs, doesn't overplay the drug scenes.
Yeah, because later on we get Nico from Velvet Underground going down on him in an elevator, and he's popping amyl nitrates.
I know, and then freaking and then Pam catches them, and then she's cool with this,
and they just laugh at her. They look at her and laugh at her as they're all like, everybody's stoned, and Pam's upset though, but Pam and Jim seem to literally go off and do their own thing a lot of times in reality. So I don't know.
I mean, it is the 60s, but again,
free love. But
again, in the arc of not the hero's journey, but the biopic singer's journey.
Yeah.
There is the scene of getting caught cheating, and then, you know what I mean? And then they either make up or they don't. So this is kind of a rom-com. Well, it's not a comedy, a rom-dram. Okay, with Meg Ryan and this, all about Jim or chasing Jim. I don't know, but it's kind of like that third act makeup. But
Jim Morrison, failure to launch.
Well, that does happen in a couple scenes. I mean,
we're getting to that here.
I know we're about to, but it's just so weird. And she's not really upset about this, and so
she just kind of looks like, no, I can't.
Oh, Jim.
I can't take it right now. I just can't. I don't want to catch this.
And it just cuts. There's no repercussions to that. How are
and he's laughing maniacally, and so is the lady playing music. He's like, that Jim Morrison devil laugh.
How are we, the audience, supposed to feel about this? Like, are we supposed to be upset with Jim? Or are we like, whatevs, nobody cares?
Well, I was into it, and then I felt embarrassed, when Pam walked in. As the audience, I felt embarrassed.
Yes, felt a little embarrassed. And then you just laughed it off. Because you were on amyl nitrate as the audience.
I just popped some amyl nitrate on that BJ sequence just to go with the flow.
Drink every time there's a BJ sequence in this movie.
Oh, yeah. I've got more on that later, too, actually.
But anyway, so then Morrison is being interviewed by a bunch of reporters, and then one of the reporters...
Oh, yeah, this is where we meet Patricia Neely, basically. Yeah,
played by the great Kathleen Quinlan, who's been in
Kathleen Quinlan, man.
Everything.
I knew her from Twilight Zone originally, and this was shocking to see her in this movie as a kid that loved Twilight Zone, the movie, seeing her so young. And then beautiful actress, Kathleen Quinlan. Very great actor, though, too, also. Very powerful. Perfectly cast here, actually, as Patricia Neely.
She's interviewing Morrison, and he tells this grand lie about how his parents were killed in when he was young in a wreck with some Native Americans, kind of weaving truth with fiction here.
Yeah.
About his origin story. And she buys it, and then later on they're hooking up.
Now, this didn't happen originally with the real Patricia Neely. That's not how this is nothing how they met, apparently.
But it's a movie, Jordan.
Yeah. And Patricia Neely hates this movie, too. Also,
oh, I bet.
Just like Ray Manzarek.
But she was in it. So did these people hate the final cut they saw? I guess if you don't know, I don't know. Anyway.
The thing in this movie, they do cocaine and blood together. And that did happen with Morrison, but it didn't happen with Patricia Neely. It happened with an actress in Paris later on. He did cocaine and drank blood with her. That was like in 1970 or 71.
So maybe she's upset about the misrepresentation about her faith because she's a Wiccan or something. And
she was supposed to be originally Roma Cliff of two different women. They were going to originally just give her a
Who's this
name.
Roma Cliff you keep talking about? I like episode you mentioned this guy, and I've looked him up on IMDb and I can't find him.
I bought it at a convention. I used to have the shooting script for The Doors, a copy of it. I know. This is before the internet once again. So yeah, I had to buy it for like $20 and it was illegal apparently buying scripts even back then. And apparently still is. But yeah.
They're legal to buy, but not legal to be caught on you in public or driving.
But in the script, she's not Patricia Neely. In the script, her name is Anne Riordan.
Okay.
She's just a kind of a composite character, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So she ends up being a witch, as the movie sort of describes her.
Now that's accurate with Patricia Keneally, because anyway.
So they get funky and they do coke off the album, foreshadowing or whatever, metaphor, off the Doors album.
Coke off the Doors album, and it looks like Val Kilmer was composited into the face image over Jim, basically.
Yeah. And then Carmina Burana plays, and
they decide to drink blood. She talks him into drinking blood because it's the right time of the night.
What is the genesis of this scene? Why does he engage in this blood drinking ritual?
We go from the Doors to Ted Nichols' Blood Orgy of the She-Devils here, literally.
Because of erectile dysfunction.
After Jim Morrison's having trouble getting it up, yes.
Yeah, I'm going to get AI-generated Instagram ads like, hey, having trouble giving it up, drink some human blood.
But she says, hey, why don't you do some coke to loosen you up? And then, hey, let's drink some blood, it's the perfect time of night. It's the perfect time of the moon, whatever.
It's a great scene, and it's really titillating.
Yeah.
But what's the lesson we learned? That witchcraft helped him get his boner back. Witchcraft helped him get his boner back. That is,
I never thought about that. It's for real.
And then later on,
witchcraft and cocaine. Thank you.
Oh, is it the witchcraft or the cocaine? I'll let the audience
blood, I guess. Yeah.
make their decision.
And I don't think there's any blood drinking involved in any part of the Wiccan religion. I don't think.
Actually, you're right. I think I don't even know if Anton LaVey and all them drink human blood. Maybe a little.
Yeah.
I don't know or care to look into them.
So Patricia Keneally is a vampire in this movie. No wonder she hated it.
She's Vampira. And so we get more erectile dysfunction talk.
Oh, yeah. We go back to Meg Ryan and Jim. Or, I'm Pam and Jim, not Meg Ryan.
Joe without his volcano. So he can't get it up, and then she doesn't have any witchcraft or cocaine, and so
she can't get Jim's volcano to go get up, and explode.
So he's like, "Would you die for me?" He hangs out the window. Was this a real scene?
He's basically got to push death on her to get up now.
Did this really happen?
No. I've heard about Jim hanging off hotel windows, but
I believe that.
Oddly, he did this when he was staying with the Doors at a hotel in New York. When he would get bored, he would just hang out the window, and the Doors didn't even say anything. This was after he smoked a joint. He'd literally hang out the window for no reason, and then come back in through the window, while the other guys were watching TV.
At that point, they were so over Jim and his antics. They're like, whatever.
They're like, don't give him any attention. Yeah, don't pay him any mind. If you do, you're only encouraging him. He just wants your attention.
Hey guys,
no, don't even look at
guys, I'm over here. I'm hanging out the window. I am the Lizard King.
Hey, hey guys, can you just lift up the window a little bit more? I left the window coming down a little bit. Can you lift it up so I can have a little bit more room to come back in?
Jim, we're watching I Spy here. Okay, look.
Yeah, you got yourself out there, Jim. You can get yourself back in. I don't think you need us.
We're not going to help you again, Jim. Sorry, I can't hear you, Jim. La, 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 la. Guys, I'm serious. I'm serious this time, guys. I'm serious.
Whatever, yeah.
But anyway, it's just like... So Patricia, she's a reporter, man. She outs him as like, your dad was this
that was true, yes.
admiral in the Navy and all this junk, and you have a sister and a brother. You're not some mystery man with this past where your parents died with India, and so. Are you all right there?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I was just grabbing another beer.
Oh, do you have a mini fridge in there?
No, it's sitting in a little McDonald's Happy Meal plastic with some ice. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The quickest kind of setup ever. It's just a MacGyver kind of thing.
Podcasting tips, everybody. Okay. All right. So anyway, okay. So Patricia said your dad was an admiral in the Navy and stuff. And
we're at the New Haven concert in 1968. That's
New Haven, Connecticut.
Which she was never there, by the way, in reality. Okay.
Look, it's no secret that Oliver Stone took some artistic license with this.
But he did really say that his parents were dead in a press release with Elektra Records' first album.
Yeah.
And I think he did that to protect himself because his dad was in the Navy. Yes, that is factual too.
Taking Jim Morrison's side, I see. But the director Oliver Stone uses this moment to try to explain away Morrison's excesses because he didn't have his parents' love.
Yes, yes.
And she's like, how much did your parents love you? And like a therapist you got on Craigslist. It's just like this much.
Not to quote his song, he was a wild child, from what I understand as well.
Good one. And I'm sure the Doors fans are loving that. No, but seriously, this is the pivotal moment in which Oliver Stone tries to explain all this, because what we're not really going over is an entire movie that is nothing but Jim Morrison being drunk, Jim Morrison being out of control, Jim Morrison being belligerent, Jim Morrison being absolutely ridiculous on stage. Some of that's true, no doubt. But Jim Morrison played to the nth degree as this narcissistic sort of idiot, kind of dumb in a weird way, smart but dumb, asshole to everyone around him, and just drunk in every scene. Drink every time. And this is a conflicting message, I understand as I say this, but drink every time Jim Morrison doesn't have a bottle in his hand in this movie. And you will be sober at the end of it. It's a reverse drinking game if you want to quit drinking.
Yeah, I agree. The only time we, I guess, see some of his human side is when we flash forward back to the American Prayer sessions where he's recording his poetry and talking. And that's like kind of the narration of the movie when he gets back and, he says, let's just say I was testing the bounds of reality. Yeah. I have the soul of a clown, that kind of stuff. But you don't get to see him every now and then just break down and go, you know what? I don't know what I'm doing. Why am I in here? Why am I Jim Morrison? Or I guess you don't see that sometimes, right? Or him with a hangover.
Yeah, he doesn't feel like a real person. He's a person with limitless energy who is always drunk, but yet somehow still manages to function. And I know rock stars, that's what they do. I get it. But the movie tells us his poetry is bad while giving us his poetry. So it kind of doesn't allow us to make the decision ourselves. Like, that's pretty interesting. I don't know.
Yeah.
And so back at the New Haven show, he gets arrested by the cops for lewdness and all this,
Oh, it's because, the cop came backstage, saw him with Patricia embracing and said, "What you doing back here?" And he said, "Nothing." And then he said, "Well, you better get out of here." And he
starts fighting the cop.
Basically, and he pushes him. They push it back. And this was based on something that really did happen in New Haven. But Jim baited with the cop more so in reality. He said, "Eat it, pig," and put his hand on his crotch, apparently, when he came back there. And he wasn't back there with Patricia. It was a different female. Yeah. But this happened. And what we see later on where he's at the show and he brings it up, that kind of did happen like this. Yeah. He wasn't as direct to the cop. He didn't toss his hat off and everything, but he did bring it up. And he's like, he showed up and he maced me, and that did happen. And the cops got angry and bussed him, which I still wonder about. Like, I still think it was weird. Something was weird about this, Oh
yeah. I mean, it's the '60s, and a lot of the cops are fighting against this counterculture, and they have a whole room full of hippies, and anything can go down at any moment. I'm not saying at the cop side, but definitely in the movie, there's a wall of cops at the edge of the stage. I don't know if that was accurate, but to your knowledge, Jordan, how accurate are these concerts? We see these amazing over-the-top performances from Jim.
I have an opinion about that. I think they're actually bigger than the actual concerts were, probably.
Oh, yeah?
The way they look in the movie. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's ramped up because it's a movie, but was Jim really this excessive on stage? Was he just going that crazy?
He tried to have energy for every show, apparently. Yeah. Which is where he would mess himself up later on. Yeah. Or get exhausted. He'd be exhausted by the end of the tour, though.
So that part is pretty accurate.
I feel like that is accurate. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Excessive on stage. Now smoking a joint, picking up a joint off the stage, and joints being thrown on stage constantly. From the concert films I've seen, you don't really see that visibly like as you do in this movie.
Oh, you'd definitely be arrested for that, I think.
Yeah.
So maybe people were throwing joints, but it's another thing for him to smoke a joint on stage in front of a bunch of cops. I don't know. I wasn't there, guys.
But he would smoking a cigarette during a show was no big. That was something that we.
That was encouraged.
Smoking an actual cigarette, yeah.
A doctor handed you a cigarette back then, I think, before you went on stage. So then Jim proposes to Pam. He's calling her his muse, right? After this tumultuous relationship and her catching him banging all these chicks.
Yeah.
So, Jordan, a thing we do on this podcast sometimes, relationship advice for people in movies.
Yeah.
Relationship advice for people in real life.
Counseling between Jim and Pam. Yeah.
Pam, I know you're Meg Ryan, and I know you got lost on your way to another movie with Tom Hanks.
Wait, what? This is different from what normal. Okay, go ahead. Keep going. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, relationship advice to Meg Ryan in this movie.
Meg Ryan, what movie did you come from? I know you just came from Joe versus the Volcano. Is that what you're saying, Anthony?
I'm just saying, like, Meg Ryan, Jim Morrison is not the guy for you. Okay. I can't think of a guy in the universe who is less Meg Ryan's type. Meg Ryan, you can't make Jim Morrison rom-com. He won't do it. He's not going to become a better guy in the third act. You're both not going to realize that there was some minor quibble between you two or misunderstanding that's going to be easily resolved by someone saying, I love you. Right?
Yeah.
Meg Ryan, this dude is hanging out with like skeezy people at bars all night. He's hanging out with the wrong crowd. Don't think we haven't noticed.
One of them is a 1990 Billy Idol.
In a bad way. He's hanging out with people with terrible wigs. Worse than that, like, Richard Jekyll wig and Pat Garrett and Billy the Kid. I was like, oh, man, of a movie of bad wigs.
Yeah. So, yeah, we're getting where the weird Thanksgiving, I guess, scene.
Yeah, and so basically, we don't need to go into any detail of this, but everyone in the movie's at this Thanksgiving, and it just goes to shit. And this Thanksgiving ends with
Never happened.
them pulling the knife. Like, she pulls the knife and tries to stab him in front of everybody.
And then he grabs and goes, go on, give me some death. Which I know of one instance from a story that happened years after that where Jim went to the kitchen and took all the knives out of the drawer because he was afraid, because Pam and a mistress of his were in the same room, and he said, I'm taking all these knives out because I don't want y'all to castrate me.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one story I know. I don't know about, and I don't know. There's conflicting reports of him pulling a knife on somebody, but I'm not sure on that one.
And that's the thing about Jim Morrison or anybody who's, I mean, we're here to talk about the movie, not the real person, but.
Yeah, I'm comparing the movie to reality here again. I'm sorry. Real versus real.
You read all sorts of conflicting reports about shit. On one hand, you can talk to people who say Jim Morrison was very much the excessive alcoholic and all this that you see in this movie.
Yeah.
On the other hand, and I don't know if these are people with revisionist history like Ray Manzarek, or however you say his name, he's like, Jim was a great guy. We'd go golfing. I mean, or not quite, but I mean, Jim was a great dude. He was a good guy. We loved him. And
they did go golfing together, him and Jim. Yeah.
He drank a little bit much at times. He'd have an extra drink too many, but there
was this perfect golf course in Reseda that Ray Manzarek and Jim Morrison went to all the time, and there was no problems with Jim. But yeah, no, you're right.
Jim Morrison loved to golf. He would be rolling around on the green, just rolling around.
Ray Manzarek wouldn't let him drive the golf cart, though.
Oh no, never.
Come on, Ray, let me drive. Come on. But no, you're right. A lot of that's the problem with the stories of Jim Morrison is there's so many different stories about him. It's like Citizen Kane, the movie Citizen Kane, where you see the interviews and they all have a different version of Charles Foster Kane.
Pause right there, because that's a thought, Jordan.
Yeah.
What if Oliver Stone had taken that approach? Okay. And not necessarily ripping off Citizen Kane, but really toyed with the idea, explored with the idea of the different sides of Jim or what different people say. Like, what if the movie began with him dying? Spoiler alert, Jim Morrison dies.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you gave away the ending, Anthony. Jeez. We haven't even got to the end of the podcast.
I know. I'm sorry. Spoiler alert, everybody.
Okay.
And went back from there. Instead of that weird poetry session we got for no reason at the beginning of this movie, like this movie needed extra runtime. It's 2 hours and 20 minutes or whatever it is.
Yeah, I agree. Take a note from like the way Bob Fosse would have done it. He would have like had the interviews with the actors playing the characters as if they were being interviewed by reporters to tell the story. Like he did that in Star 80. He did that in all that jazz kind of, and Lenny. But yeah, like I agree. Why couldn't they do it like Citizen Kane, like where they're cutting different memories of Jim? One of them was a sweetheart where he did a really good deed to this person.
Yeah.
One was another one where they were about to break a bottle over his head because he was an a-hole. One was another one where he was a sweetheart again. He was human and he was buying somebody a gift,
Yeah.
Which, and you do hear stories about Jim like that. There was one where that didn't end up in the movie or anything, where he spent time with a woman who he met at a club. And then They went to her house and they had fondue later on in the evening. He met her kids, played with her kids. He didn't get drunk the whole day, just hung out like a normal guy.
But the Jim Morrison in this movie is not a normal guy. He is just always drunk.
Yeah.
There's nothing redeeming about him.
Yeah, the movie is so excessive, I think, to the point of exhaustion for the audience sometimes, maybe.
It's almost like the account that you're talking about would be somebody who didn't really like Jim, who was equally as enamored with Jim, but hated him.
Yeah.
And was only interested in pointing out his faults. Oh, yeah, and this other time Jim got drunk and did this. Oh, did I tell you about the time that Jim climbed out of this window? And you're like, what is there to like about this person? You know?
Jim Morrison stories, yes. There was this one time where Jim climbed up in a tree and helped rescue a cat.
No, cut. We're cutting that. That's not, nobody wants to see that shit. That might flesh him out as a human being. No.
There was another time he talked a guy to.
Is the answer, but not today.
Not today, brother. You want to hear another song from me? I'll sing another one if you come down from this ledge. My wild love went riding. No, don't sing and I'll come down. Stop singing.
I'll stop reading my poems if you come down from there. Anyway, so it's like when they were trying to oust Noriega back in the 90s, they played Jim Morrison poems.
Yeah, they locked him in a room and they like played the end over and over again on a loudspeaker. This is the end, beautiful friend.
Yeah. So Jim Morrison comes home and finds Pam shooting up. You alluded to this earlier with the Italian prince.
Oh, yeah. Played by Costas Mandylor is playing the Count.
Yeah. But and Jim is like, at first he's like, okay.
No, he's kind of like, don't forget your smack on the way out. But then he gets really ugly.
And what does he do, Jordan?
He grabs her wrist and he like tells her like, you know, these are death choices. And then she hides in a closet from him. And then, but then he lights the closet door on fire. Jeez. And lights the whole place up in flames, Anthony.
And the house burns down.
And this is all during a great montage where he's singing, not to touch the earth, not to sing the song, in the big giant concert scene.
So, I mean, did that really happen?
Now, apparently that did. He started a fire. I don't know how it happened, though, but I heard he did start a fire in their house at one point, and it was a big deal, and they called the cops. But the house is still there. It didn't burn down because they shot in that house, I think.
Oh.
The Jim Morrison house is still there in L.A. from what I know, and famous still.
But this is our hero.
Yeah.
This is attempted murder by burning someone to death, and the movie forgives this instantly.
The woman he loves.
The woman he loves.
His soulmate.
And Jordan, I'm supposed to be okay about this?
But god dang, Val Kilmer's so beautiful, Anthony.
Yeah.
How can you not forgive him?
It's his leather pants.
Look at how he looks in them leather pants, Anthony.
Yeah, you can't hate the guy. He's wearing leather pants.
Look at that hair. Look at how he smiles as Jim Morrison. Look at how he swaggers in those leather pants, Anthony.
So, and he's in the recording booth. He's too drunk to sing. Then Paul Rothschild
says, yeah, the prima donna's too drunk to fucking sing. And they're recording the song Touch Me, and he does sound too drunk on it. I am not afraid. What was that promise that you made?
I thought that was good drunk acting.
That was funny, yeah.
Too.
Yeah, it
Paul
was
Rothschild, the actual real producer in real life, who was in this movie, or who was behind the scenes and worked with the band. And it was funny because I heard a story that Paul was saying, I was working with Val on his voice and how he used to say things. We were working on some of the music because they recorded Val Kilmer singing some of the Doors tunes for the movie. Mm-hmm. And Val was kind of like sticking on some things. And he's like, well, stop it, Jim. Like, so in character was Val that for a moment, Paul Rothschild was like, had a flashback to Jim. He's like, he was sticking on the same stuff that Jim used to give me hell about on these songs. I just thought that was very interesting. It's as the guy trying to keep Jim Morrison contained so that they can record these albums. You know, that can't be easy.
Mm-hmm. And the movie here, he's played by Michael Wincott, who he was in another movie you talked about on another podcast called Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. They came out the same year.
Yes.
Playing a Guy of Gisborne, I think, if I remember correctly. Yeah. He's playing Paul Rothschild here, and he's got that great voice. He doesn't look or sound anything like the real Paul Rothschild.
No.
Clearly not. But yeah, apparently that is true. Paul Rothschild said in real life, Val Kilmer complained about the same parts of songs that Jim Morrison did. Like, Touch Me was one of those songs, I think, where, come on, come on, come on, come on. That's a tough, I've tried doing that on karaoke. Touch Me is a hard song to do like that. That come on part of it. That come on shit.
Jim Morrison had a voice, and Val Kilmer.
But Val Kilmer has a voice too. He's got a beautiful singing voice. He's got a honey voice, as Oliver Stone said later on.
And okay, so what was their relationship on set? I heard that Val Kilmer generally is one of your typical Hollywood difficult actors. If he doesn't take direction, you got two big egos on this: Oliver Stone and Val Kilmer. Do you know much about that, Jordan? Were they at odds or?
Yeah, every now and then they were at odds because apparently Oliver Stone wanted Kilmer to have more energy playing Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted him to get like B12 shots even at some point just to have more energy. And Kilmer would go in his trailer and get massages to kind of help with the situation. That was his thing. I think that was his meditation.
Well, apparently, like, Kilmer would get, like, exhausted from being Jim. Physically exhausted.
Yeah, which is understandable.
And, like, wouldn't come out of his trailer. But, watching some of these concert scenes and all this and having to jump up on things and I get it. If you're taking, like, 10 takes of this and that. I get it.
He had Paula Abdul, the singer-choreographer Paula Abdul, choreograph his sort of Native American-looking dance sequences there in these concert sequences that we see. And that did look like Jim, but I think that was to add to the energy of it, to help with the energy of it. But yeah, Kilmer was exhausted playing Jim Morrison a lot of the times. I don't know if I've heard he was on drugs. I've heard he wasn't on drugs at the time. Kilmer as character, he was method, but I've also heard that he would appear like it, but he wasn't really like that. I've heard back and forth, man. But the main thing I know from a person I met who worked on this movie and a lot of the interviews, they say that when Kilmer was on set, it was like, there's Jim. There is Jim Morrison right there.
Yeah.
My God, that's him. He's back from the dead. He's here. And even Stone admitted later on when he would get frustrated with Kilmer, he'd see him walk off into the horizon and he'd see his silhouette and it would bring him back to the movie. He'd go, there's Jim right there.
Yeah.
Jim's here with me. Like he saw his spirit. Like,
I see Jim. I see dead rock stars.
He inhabited the spirit of Morrison like a lot of actors do, I think, in roles like these. Like same with Denzel Washington and Malcolm X, that kind of thing, where Spike Lee would say it was creepy sometimes,
Yeah.
Or Chadwick Boseman playing James Brown in Get On Up, where he just transforms, man. He's just like, you know, anyway.
And he does. I mean, I think he's this generation's Jim Morrison. And probably his portrayal, Jim Morrison, has eclipsed who the real Jim Morrison was in a lot of ways,
I think people associate it with him now.
It's a phenomenal. We'll talk about this a little more later, but it's a phenomenal performance. But I want to get to the Doors. Well, I want to talk about like Pam giving him a BJ in the recording studio.
That really did happen, but not here.
I know that happened, but look, we're an hour and 20 minutes in, or 2 hours, 20 minutes. Do we need that in the movie? But how did her estate clear that? We can't have her shooting heroin, but giving a BJ in a recording booth, that's cool.
But it really happened on Strange Days when they were doing Lost Little Girl, apparently.
But her parents were okay with that.
Yeah, either way, yeah.
Anyway, not important. So the Doors in Florida. This concert is fantastic. It's like a drunken orgy vibe. People are getting naked.
Yeah. The Miami concert sequence is huge, man. It's like 10 Commandments.
He's dancing through the auditorium with everybody. I love this. This is fantastic.
There's a scene right before where they show him kind of, fucked up on a plane already. He's drunk and he asks Paul Rothschild. Oddly, Paul Rothschild's there. He's asking Paul Rothschild if he knows where to get heroin. And later on they're at Miami, it's fucked up. Oh, there's another notable cameo here in Miami. The promoter guy going, if I got to put on that wig and sing them songs myself, man, there's going to be a fucking show. That is Billy Vera from Billy Vera and the Beaters. Remember the song he sang from the 80s? It was famous. It was, what would you think I would do at this moment? That guy? That's who that is. Anyway.
Sorry.
Okay, never mind. I'll cut that.
No, don't cut it. It's great. I'm not that worldly, Jordan. I don't know. I'm sure that's a great impression of that song.
But yeah, the Miami concert is based on a real incident where, like, apparently they never had it. It was never verified whether he really exposed himself or not, whether he was fucking with the audience, but
Yeah.
people thought they saw him expose himself. The band members swear he didn't. So I'm still confused on this one. I feel like he probably didn't, that he probably did enough to shock the audience. I feel like some of the audience was conservative and they didn't honestly, because apparently they stuffed this arena like full in reality. And that's what you see in the movie. This is the closest I feel like to reality, this movie, this part of the movie, at least.
Yeah. And he's a drunken mess on stage. In one hand, he's insulting the audience. The other hand, he's almost calling for revolution. And then it ends in this big parades through the theater. It's like
this conga line he leads.
Wow. Like what the hell is going on here? And it's like,
and we see the bald death guy right behind him in the line, right behind him in the line again. The bald death guy's there. And then it dissolves into the court all of a sudden, and he's in court, and he's a little bit heavier and got more of a beard, and suddenly he's having to atone for his sins here, Jim Morrison.
Exactly.
In the court of law, Mr. Morrison.
So here we are, kind of late in the third act. I guess there's a sort of like comeuppance of sorts.
This is where he gets justice.
But not really, because the lawyer's like, look, we can delay this appeal forever, and you can just go on. Who cares about all this? This is not important to the story, is what the lawyer tells him.
Look, this is only one part of the script, okay?
Look, I got the judge to put a stay on this part of the movie, and we're just going to, ignore all the legal troubles and just move on with the film. Thank you, everybody. It's like, the next sort of big thing that happens, Patricia's pregnant. He doesn't want to have a kid. Like
that really happened too, apparently, but not like the way it did in the movie. And apparently that was what really crushed. I feel bad for Patricia Keneally, honestly, in this respect. Because, this sequence is mean.
He comes off as an asshole. And I agree you don't want to have kids.
He comes off like a jerk. And Patricia Keneally said she saw this in the theater. And an audience is laughing when he says, I was stoned. It seemed like a good idea at the time, as he's biting into a strawberry. And you're like, that's the worst thing you could say.
Yeah.
In this situation right now, where you're talking about life or death over this kid that's yours.
Yeah. He's loving two women at the same time.
Yeah.
He's witchcraft married to Patricia, and then wants to get married to Pam, and they meet each other at one point in the movie. Yeah. That Thanksgiving scene, and it just goes to shit.
Yeah. Which I don't remember if Patricia Keneally and Pam ever met in real life.
I think they met in real life, and apparently they were cool.
But it wasn't like that. Yeah, they chilled out. Yeah, there was a chill
this isn't about real life, but we know that Stone's taking like artistic license here, but there's a moment where he's drunk on the roof of the Chateau Marmont with Pam.
Yeah.
And everyone's just hanging out the windows. They're not watching TV. They're hanging out the windows.
And everybody's there. Ray Manzarek included.
Everyone in the movie is there.
The whole band. All of Jim's groupies, and even his filmmaking buddy who's making a movie with him. And
all these people are there at this moment, and then Jim kind of breaks down and starts crying. The movie is trying so hard to have this redemption arc for Jim.
Mm-hmm.
And it fails because too little, too late. We don't really get. He cries, but whatever. And the next thing you know, he's at a kid's birthday party, and then
it's supposed to be Ray and his wife Dorothy's birthdays for their kid. Yeah, and they hear Riders in the Storm for the first time, and they say, "Hey, we just added the thunder and rain to Riders, man. Hey, check it out."
Yeah. And I love this. I love this whole scene with Jim Morrison and the kids. It's hilarious to me.
Oh yeah. And this is, I want this doll. Yeah. He gives her a doll that's him basically looking younger, and he's looking like a poet kind of in this poet kind of costume, and classic kind of poet.
Jim Morrison, whiskey bottle drinking action. Pull the string and get some incomprehensible poetry. You people are slaves, all of you.
My Lou. Yeah, you pull the string and it talks like, wild child, the ancient lunatic reigns in the trees of the night.
Mommy, I don't like this doll. Anyway, so he sees himself at the party as a child with a Native American once again. And then we kind of have this scene where he's meeting all the guys. He's like, hey guys, I'm all cleaned up. Life is great. The old Jim is gone.
Yeah, I'm going to Paris. I'm going to live it out.
Me and Pam are going to Paris. Life is good. And they're like, all right, we see the most humanity from Jim in this whole movie. Seems like a real human being.
This is the most sober we see him.
And everyone's like, yeah, and he's like being cool with everybody, and hey, hey, what the,
Yeah, like, Robbie actually says, like, I still feel like we have a couple of blues albums left in us, and he's like, oh, what are you kidding? They got a category for everything we do, man. And then John tells him how he's going to miss him, and he goes, oh, we always could whip the horse's eyes. Maybe we'll get together, make a movie black and white. Bye.
Yeah, to bye, everybody.
Into movie. Oh, wait, there's more. No.
Ray Manzarek, I was watching an interview, and of course, hindsight, but
Yeah.
he was like, their last meeting, Jim was cool. He was like, yeah, guys, we should get the band back together again, maybe at some point. We're just going to go chill for a couple, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Their contract with Elektra was over, so they were kind of like free men. They didn't have to crank out another album. So everyone was just going to go chill, and then maybe they'd come back together. Who knows? And everyone's like real happy. And I think the movie kind of captures that.
Yeah.
It captures a moment of humanity between bandmates, for the love of God.
Ray Manzarek said in an interview he thought, Jim was just going to go to Paris and recharge his battery for a couple of years maybe and then come back and make an album. But Jim wanted to get out of LA from what I know. And yeah.
And get away from his drinking buddies. He was hanging out with Michael Madsen too much and some bikers and
and Billy Idol. And
Billy Idol, the wrong crowd. So, Jordan, they moved to Paris.
This is where the just say no message comes in the movie here.
They go to Paris, in their Paris apartment, and what happens?
Pam wakes up early in the morning, and the lighting's all trippy, and she sees the naked bald guy again, Richard Rotowski, walking down the hall because he's deaf, of course. And we just saw him in the party sequence already with the young version of Jim Morrison. Now we see him again, and and then sadly she walks into the bathroom and realizes Jim is in the bathtub, and she says, "Oh, I thought it was you, Jim Morrison. I always know when it's you." Oh, is death like what you thought it would be? And it's sad. We see Jim in the bathtub, and he shaved the beard. He's got this boyish smile on his face, which I will say Val Kilmer perfectly captures the dead Jim Morrison here in the bathtub. I will say that's the way I still imagine the way he looked maybe when he died.
And we're not going to go into this here, but there's theories abound on the death of Jim Morrison. Google it.
I made a video about it on YouTube years ago when I had a YouTube channel called Enigmas IRL. You could check out if you want.
Yeah.
I did research. I think it was heroin that killed him, though.
Yes, and we know Pam was a heroin user, and I heard there was a closed casket.
Yeah, there was even weirder stuff they could have. I thought they would have been interesting here to put in the movie, even though it would have been very gothic.
Yeah.
But after they found his body, after they came and have his body, Pam asked if they could put him on dry ice so she could lay on top of him and just like be with him one last minute.
Wow.
Yeah. But that was stuff that I think came out later after the movie, I think. But yeah, we don't get a lot of that in the movie, though, at all. He's dead, and then we flash back to them recording L.A. Woman, and the credits start to happen, and then we get Jim walking into the sun. And yeah, the movie just kind of ends right here, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm adding more to it than what was actually... I'm sorry, we cut to the cemetery. That was the only sequence shot in Paris for real, was they went to where he really was buried. The bust on top, though, that you see at the end that was mocked up by the production, because the bus was actually stolen originally by that point. And the bus looks more like Val Kilmer in the movie here, so it's appropriate.
Interesting. So, Jordan,
yeah,
we previously talked about Larry Buchanan's take on the life of Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
Who did it better, Larry Buchanan or Oliver Stone? Just kidding.
Oh, God, don't put me in that position, Anthony.
Down on us. Anyway.
We've already had his son on, for God's sakes.
Anyway, I won't. So, Jordan, here's what I see as the good in this movie.
Okay, yes.
Freaking Kilmer as Morrison.
Hell
Man,
yeah.
Nails it. Nails something.
He should have got an Oscar. I don't know what was up with the Academy that year. I
agree.
I think they didn't like him because he was too pretty, honestly.
Yeah.
They were like, you're an overachiever, and we'd hate it because you're an overachiever. And they all talk like Paul Lynde.
So, was The Doors nominated? I don't think The Doors was even nominated, wasn't it?
Not for anything, no.
Oh, yes. Okay, so actor in a leading role that year, Anthony Hopkins, Silence of the Lambs, Warren Beatty, Bugsy, Cape Fear, Robert De Niro, Nick Nolte, Prince of Times.
That was the year Silence of the Lambs just scooped it up, actually.
Yeah. Robin Williams, Fisher King. If you're going to nominate Robin Williams for the Fisher King, nominate Val Kilmer. Come on.
No shit.
Nick Nolte, come on. Anyways.
I don't understand what was going on there. Even Gene Siskel at the time from Siskel and Ebert said the same thing. he said it on the show, and even later on, I think when they were on Oprah again, he said, I thought Val Kilmer should have got at least nominated for playing Jim Morrison in The Doors, but he didn't. And I remember him and Roger Ebert had a difference of opinion. Roger Ebert was afraid that this would make kids want to do drugs, this movie, because we were still coming out of the 80s. Yeah. And Gene Siskel appreciated the fact that it was Gene Siskel said, well, yeah, but it's about being young.
Yeah, exactly. Beyond the Valley of the Dolls is warning kids against drug use, which Roger Ebert wrote. But this movie is a gateway movie, and all kids are going to do drugs. Anyway.
It made me want to do drugs, though.
The acting is great. The casting is great, except for Meg Ryan. Not her fault. The cinematography we mentioned, fantastic. I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
The music, amazing. Both Kilmer's singing, the integration of the original Doors tunes, how they got the rights, who knows. The feel and the vibe, especially those Haight-Ashbury mocked up scenes, it feels like the 60s.
Yeah. And of course, only Barbara Ling, production designer, maestro Barbara Ling, could do this, apparently. Barbara Ling deserves a lot of credit. Once again, we talked about her Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. She worked on Batman Forever, even. I mean, talk about a force of nature, man. Just look at what she's... I don't care if she's a dick or not, or an a-hole. Man, look at what she got. I sound Hollywood now.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, and we got to give costume credit. I think it was Marlene Stewart, the costumes on here.
Absolutely.
Who also worked on Terminator 2, which was also the same year, and this was the year of leather pants, let me tell you, 1991.
Wow.
Because we had Terminator 2 and this movie.
The year everyone's ass was sweaty, 1991.
So when I put on my leather pants, I go back to 1991, man.
It's like a hot tub time machine, but it's like leather pants that you put on.
Leather pants time machine.
Anyway, what could be improved, if anything? Nothing. The movie's perfect. No, but I got a McConaughey this. All right, everyone.
Okay,
all right.
Please.
I know there's fans to this, and look, we're going to mention a couple things. It's all right. We're not saying the movie's terrible. We're not saying, it's great that you like it, and some other people not like this movie. It's okay. People have different opinions, but we can all just get along in this big, beautiful, wonderful world of ours.
That's right.
Go play bongos. Anyway, so I think it's indulgent, and this is like, look, Oliver Stone, an indulgent filmmaker.
Oh, very indulgent.
He makes long ass movies. He does what the hell he wants to do, whether you like it or not. And it's too fucking long. They could have cut 20 minutes out of this movie easily. What do you think?
Yeah, it could have been cut down more. I've seen the deleted scenes, and they don't. I didn't know what to make of some of the deleted scenes.
Yeah, they could have cut a concert, right?
But yeah, they could have trimmed the edges on some scenes if they were trying to get it down more. So, absolutely, I agree with you on that one. Yeah, I guess my deal is with what they left out. Maybe some of what they left out would have been pertinent to the, some of the deleted scenes were very, very raunchy though.
Oh,
which made it an even raunchier movie. And the shooting script was very raunchier than what we saw here.
Is there an X-rated version out there, you think?
Yeah. I mean, there was a scene where Jim and Pam were having sex, and I think it's the same deal. Jim's having problems with his member, and then they get a little more riotous, and she's like saying, F me, Jim, and F me, Jim. And
I thought she said that though in the movie. Anyway, I don't know.
She does, but it's in a different kind of way. But anyway, yeah.
But I think there's almost too much of a good thing with the concert footage. Like, it's great. I love it. It's fantastic. But it's like another concert. I get it. You mentioned Bohemian Rhapsody. There are other movies that have a lot of concert footage, and I get it. I get it. But
yeah, I agree. The movie it's excessive. As you say, it's indulgent. It's excessive and indulgent, honestly, on the director's part. This is Oliver Stone at the height of his power, too. This is after Born on the 4th of July, when Hollywood will give him everything. And
yeah.
So he's literally just like, I'm going to do whatever I fucking want, man. Here,
And not enough about the rest of the band. I don't think we're the only ones to say this, but they're just set pieces in a movie called The Doors. That's really just about how crazy Jim was.
It's saying that Jim is the Doors, basically, is what the movie's saying by the title and the implications in the movie.
Call it the Jim Morrison story or something.
There's the scene when he's getting
it drugs bad. I don't know.
There's the scene when he's getting his picture taken, and he says, "Where are the Doors?" And Mimi Rogers, playing the photographer, says, "What are you talking about? You are the Doors."
So to that point, the movie captures more, in my mind, a character of Jim Morrison.
Yeah, a version of him.
Yeah, if you just took his stage presence, who Jim was on stage, this drunk, crazy person, and you said that's only who he was as a whole person. He has no other facets to that. Mm-hmm. And I kept asking, like, why do people like this guy? And I get the movie's probably about the pitfalls of fame, but I don't really get, and I've heard Stone say that, I don't really get this movie as a cautionary tale about the excesses of fame. Jim Morrison is who he is in the beginning as he is in the end, right? Mm-hmm. An asshole.
Yeah, of the movie. Talking about the movie more, yeah.
Yeah, in the movie, the portrayal in the movie, who gives zero fucks about anyone but himself, who just wants to get drunk and screw.
Yeah.
And fancies himself this poet, this drunk poet who's just spitting all these sanctimonious sort of platitudes at everybody. And just, we're supposed to think he's a genius or something, but he doesn't feel like a real person. He feels like one-dimensional, Jordan. No. Mm-hmm. Respond to that. What's the counterpoint? I know you love this movie.
I do, but I've watched it so much that I'm more critical of it than I used to be as a kid. You know, I agree with you, kind of. I hate that we always agree on stuff sometimes for the drama of the podcast. But
there's enough drama on this podcast. No, I'm kidding.
But yeah, I agree. We only kind of get one version of Jim Morrison, one kind of gear, one kind of mode in this movie. And it's mostly excessive and drunken. If you look at the movie, probably like as I did as a kid, as just, this is a Disneyland ride version of Jim Morrison.
Yeah.
This is really what it is. Kind of like the way Bohemian Rhapsody was.
Keep your hands inside the ride.
Or like Ben Stiller's skit about the Mr. Morrison's Wild Ride. I think it was written by Dana Gould. That skit. Yeah, you had to stay inside the bathtub. You ride in the bathtub and you want.
Oh wow!
You give me some death. No, Jim. No, give me some death. Break all through. Break all through.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, check it out, kids. It's great. I think the great comedian Dana Gould wrote that. But yeah, I was on the Ben Stiller show. But I still think of that with this movie now because of that. And but yeah, I think of that in this movie's context. This is almost like kind of with Bohemian Rhapsody as well. This is a Disneyland ride version of celebrating the music.
Yeah, let's distill the person into like 2 or 3 points and make the movie about that. And all we got from Jim Morrison that he was a drunk and he wrote bad poetry and we love him because he was famous and wrote this music. We don't really know. I don't really see the creative aspect, but I just see the famous drunk just paraded in front of us.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I think there's more depth to him than that. And I also think Pam's underwritten too. Like I said, nothing against Meg Ryan, but man, that character falls flat. They had an opportunity to show how the artist, Jim Morrison, the good person, Jim Morrison, conflicted with the drunk Jim Morrison. Mm-hmm. In order for us to really look at the drunk Jim Morrison and judge that, we have to see him being good. Like, that's my problem with the prequels, the Star Wars prequels. We never see Anakin Skywalker being good.
Yeah.
We just see him being an asshole. Mm-hmm. And you're like, why does everyone, like, the movies tell us he's a great guy and we should care? And that's kind of, this movie falls into the same thing. Why can't we see Jim Morrison as a good person seduced by fame slowly? Why isn't there a true arc here? Oliver Stone should know better. Ugh.
I saw an interview with his sister earlier, Jim Morrison's actual sister, and she said it was weird. You know, he said, I don't care about this kind of thing, but then she said that he said, oh my God, the people I've met since I've become famous and the places I've been. Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like, she said he was conflicted about fame, and we don't even get that in the movie, of course.
He talks a little bit to Pam about it. It's like, I love the fame and all this, but it's just, it's clumsy.
There was a deleted scene that relates to the end of the movie because Pam is referencing something earlier in the movie at that last scene. She says, did it feel good like you wanted it to feel, death? Because there was an earlier scene where Jim said, if death comes for me, I just want to be able to feel it.
Yeah. So did this movie light a fire at the box office, Jordan?
Hey!
On a budget of $32 million, it made domestic U.S. Canada, 34.4 million.
Oh my, barely its money back.
Barely. I mean, that's a failure. That is an absolute failure.
I heard it accumulated it back on home video and later on, apparently.
Yeah.
But no, it was a box office failure compared to nowadays, especially like we're talking about Bohemian Rhapsody and Michael.
Yeah. I mean, it just failed to hit. And I think the critics were a little rough on it. And I think it was just negative, bro.
It opened big.
Nobody wants these negative vibes.
Yeah. I remember on Entertainment Tonight back then, they would do their test screenings.
Yeah.
And I remember the comments specifically. One said, it seemed like Oliver Stone's trip more than Jim Morrison's trip.
Whoa.
And like another comment they liked was, I thought I was stoned.
Wow. A good one. A good one.
These were just random Friday night audience people in 1991, folks, you know.
So, Jordan, what kind of rating do you give this film?
I had a hard time between two different ones, but they're kind of the same numbers. 6 out of 10 BJs in an elevator, or
Whoa.
I couldn't decide, or 6 out of 10 acid tabs. How about you, Anthony? What kind of rating do you give it?
I give 7 out of 10. Did you say 6 out of 10?
Yeah.
Holy shit. 7 out of 10. Jim Morrison peeing on things. That happens a lot.
Oh, yeah. The Barney's Beanery scene.
I gave it high. This is like one of your favorite movies, and I gave it more than you? How on earth?
I'm being harsh on it, but I still love it, though. And I watched it not that long ago before our review, oddly. So I must still like it in some way. I'm probably more critical because of Oliver Stone. And
yeah.
Oliver Stone, don't get me wrong, though, used to be my cinematic directing hero, man. I mean, even to Natural Born Killers, I followed him even to U-Turn and Wall Street and Platoon, man. I mean, and
once again, you're letting personal feelings about the director affect your rating of this movie.
But yeah, maybe so. But this movie is fun. I'm giving it a 6 out of 10 because of what you're talking about, the problems with it.
Yeah.
As an entertainment thing, no, like I said, if you just sit back, think about this as this is a Disneyland ride of Jim Morrison's life, hey, it's fun. It is. It's fun in that respect. It's almost like a science fiction movie in my... Yeah. You can enjoy it like a science fiction movie if you want to, or this movie does take you to another world, another time and place.
Yeah. I thought it was a good movie about a rock star's success, but it doesn't tell me much about the Doors or Jim Morrison.
Yeah, that's why I'm being hard on it. Partly is because I've done too much research on that at this point. That's why. You know what? I'll be fair here. It's not so much Oliver Stone. It's also because I've done so much damn research on Jim Morrison at this point.
Yeah,
and there were things they left out too that I think they could have left in, like you say. There would have been interesting stories to put in the movie.
Yeah.
You know, like when they were making the movie at the Chateau Marmont in the movie and on doing all that crazy stuff, that actually, in reality, what that was based on was Morrison was making an experimental film like about 69 after the Miami thing. And they were shooting it on the top of the building in LA called the 9000 building. And they had to put a rope around his waist so he wouldn't fall off the building, because he was trying to do this kind of crazy looking Harold Lloyd looking shit. And he was drunk. So like, why didn't they put that in the movie? It's like, anyway.
Yeah. But a fun movie, but a fun watch and a great watch. I was like, this movie is a lot better than I remember it being. But again, story-wise, it has problems with the whole arc, but it's entertaining. It's probably one of, like, if you're going to pop on an Oliver Stone movie to have fun with, this is as close as it kind of gets. Wall Street, maybe. But anyway, so Jordan, next episode,
we'll have my friend Aaron Blaine come on to talk about After Hours, actually. Yeah,
After Hours. I've never seen that film.
I have not seen it in years, so this will be interesting for me, too.
So everyone, thank you all for listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you've enjoyed this really in-depth discussion about The Doors.
All right.
And next time...
Listen, baby, listen. You believe in astrology. Go and do the Roadhouse. Gonna have a good time.
Okay, but everyone, thank you all for listening. Smash those buttons, but only the good ones. And if you like this, listen to some of our other episodes. And tell your kids, tell your wife, tell that rock star peeing on you at the bar that you like this podcast. And thank you all for listening. We appreciate every last one of you. Jordan, this has been...
Is everybody in? Is everybody in? The ceremony is about to begin. The robots took my podcast.
What's the matter?
It's not it. It just doesn't sound right.
And now a word from our sponsor.
Based on Oliver Stone's hit new movie The Doors, now comes the new Jim Morrison action figure with whiskey drink in motion.
Cool! I'm Jim Morrison. Let's just say I was testing the bounds of reality.
Pull the string to hear his poetry.
Let me tell you about heartache and the loss of God, wandering in hopeless night. Indians scattered on dawn's highway bleeding. Ghosts crowd the young child's fragile eggshell mind.
Radical!
But watch out, here comes the rest of the band. Ray Manzurek, Robbie Krieger, and John Densmore trying to harsh Jim's buzz.
Get with it, man. Stop drinking and focus on the band.
Just then, Jim's allies, the Factory Friends, Andy Warhol and Tom Baker, join the fight to help him out.
I have a golden phone you can use to talk to God.
You're bored, you're not free. You tested all the limits. What you gonna do when the music's over, Jim? Puke on heaven's door?
And look out, here comes even more trouble. It's the women in his life, Pamela and Patricia.
You killed my duck, you bastard.
I wanna have a baby.
But Jim has a new trick up his sleeve, introducing the new Jim Morrison Lizard King figure with transforming action.
Not so fast. I'm the Lizard King. Rawr! I can do anything.
Awesome! You won this time, Jim Morrison, but we'll be back.
It's the new Doors action figure collection with Whiskey A Go-Go playset, each sold separately from LJN.
All trailers, clips, music, or any other copyrighted material are used sparingly, edited from their original forms, and used for the purposes of criticism, discussion, commentary, and education about these fine films.